Hey everyone, Joey here. The Game Boy Advance might be one of my favorite handhelds of all time for just the games library alone. I wasn't fortunate enough to own one of the other versions, so I have the Game Boy Advance SP here, and it still works to this day. I have a few cartridges and some of the other cartridges are somewhere else, I don't know. But either way, games still work, and while I do actually prefer emulation to original hardware nowadays, it's awesome to just go back and see what it was like and kind of get a feeling for how it was way back when I used to play this as a kid and just daily. So it's a good nostalgia trip. Honestly, I keep eyeing all of those modded Game Boy Advance on Etsy and all of that, and I get so close to pulling the trigger even though they're like 200 and something US dollars, but I just can't find a use where I would actually use it day to day. So instead, in this video, we're going to go over my 10 favorite Game Boy Advance games. And notice I didn't say that they're the best Game Boy Advance games. These are my favorites. So basically ones that I have nostalgia for growing up, or ones that maybe I just continue to play to this day, things like that. And figured that I would just make a list and go from there. And I'm going to stick to original games, because while I actually do play a lot of ROM hacks, and probably my top 10 best would be a lot of ROM hacks, we'll stick to just original games. And what we're also going to do is use the Powkiddy X55 to do this video, because I think Game Boy Advance games look really good on this screen when they're stretched into the big screen. And also I couldn't think of another reason to make a video on the X55. So special thanks to LitNXT for sending this device out. I've already done a review on it a few months ago, and my thoughts are still basically the same, aside from the fact that this X55 actually has a good working screen, which my previous X55 had the old bad screen. So newer versions are going to come with the good screen that looks really nice, and you'll see that in today's video. Otherwise, all of my other complaints are still the same. The noise of the device. I don't like that the D-pad is actually on the bottom for this. I think D-pad should be top for what this plays. Otherwise, everything else still the same, so if you're curious on my thoughts, just watch that review. First up is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. This is going to be a bit controversial, but this is my favorite Final Fantasy game, and also it's my favorite strategy RPG of all time. Nothing comes close to this game for me. The number of jobs, the number of missions, the story, the artwork, and everything, plus the actual gameplay, and it all combines into just one of my favorite experiences on the Game Boy Advance. But then you go ahead and you even add the story, which is really good, even though you do want to skip the whole intro that takes about 30 minutes. I still have my original cartridge right here, although it has seen better days over the years. But either way, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is one of my favorite games of all time, and as a big strategy RPG fan, something that I'm sad we haven't seen any modern sequels of, even though it was hinted at not too long ago. Next up is our first Pokemon game, and it's Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, that combination. Joey likes Pokemon. I think we've established that at this point already over all of my videos. I still have my Ruby cart, although it's with my brother right now in a different house, and I'm pretty sure I still have Emerald as well, which is probably in the same place. Look, honestly, do I need to talk about Pokemon? It's Pokemon, and this was a new Pokemon, and it had new Pokemon. Are you following me? This one was cool, and it added tag team battles, but otherwise it was just more Pokemon. Not my favorite game in the series, but I consistently go back to them probably at least once a year, because again, it's Pokemon. Pokemon. Then we have Fire Emblem, or Fire Emblem Blazing Blade, depending on what helps you know which game I'm talking about. We've established that I love strategy RPGs, and Fire Emblem is among my favorite games of all time, the entire series basically, up to most of the modern games. Some of them are hit and miss. This one in particular is great because I like playing as Lynn, and seeing her animations is just awesome. And especially when you get a crit, it looks even better. It's exceptionally awesome as you play through 3 different protagonists, and it's also spawned so many different ROM hacks. Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS might have saved this series, which is a shock for how great the games were before it, like Blazing Blade. So if you haven't played Fire Emblem yet, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. Next up is The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. It's Zelda, yeah? And we love Zelda, so here's more Zelda for you to play. Okay, but further than that, the Minish Cap was just charming and fun. The main ability in this game is to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids yourself and then go out and find these Smurf sized things, and you have awesome things that make it Zelda and fun with puzzles and weapons and tools and all of that. It's Zelda. Plus, the art style and colors just absolutely pop. Usually, this is one of the games that I pull up as a test for a new device to see how the screen is doing colors. I don't know where I rank this among favorite Zelda games, even though I love this one, but that just speaks more to how awesome Zelda is as a series than anything else. Then we have Harvest Moon: Friends of Mineral Town. I don't know if this is common knowledge among people that watch me, but Harvest Moon: Back to Nature on the PS1 is either my favorite game of all time or second. And this game is just that, but on the Game Boy Advance. Look, Stardew Valley is amazing, and I love it, but you have to experience the games that inspired it. And while there were Harvest Moon games previous to this, I think this is the one that takes the top spot for most people. You get a farm, you get some animals, you do the farming things, marry someone, and you just have a total life simulation game that has great music, great charm, and everything. Super relaxing and fun, and it's just a fantastic game and series. Well, it was before all the bad things happened. Then we have Golden Sun. This might be the most controversial on this list for me. This is the first game on my list that I actually don't have vivid memories playing, and if you were to ask me about it, I couldn't actually tell you much about it. I'm doing all of this blind, but I did start up a new playthrough of the game not too long ago, which I've been meaning to get back to, but I'm acutely aware that Golden Sun is basically at the top of every best Game Boy Advance list, and as a lover of JRPGs, I either played all of this game and forgot it, or somehow got the game and never played it, which back then would be weird given how expensive games were. How can it be a favorite of mine without me remembering playing it? I have no idea, but it must have been because I have the cartridge right here to prove it. Past Joey would not lie. Of course, there's Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, another one that I know that I have the cartridge for but I can't find. Turn-based RPG with Mario and Luigi. I'm not sure what else you actually need, but you have it all here in this game. The artwork is great, just like basically all of Game Boy Advance games. Seriously, they all look so good. And then you add all of the fun Mario goofiness, the gameplay, and everything, and you just have a fantastic game. I really wish we had a lot more turn-based games nowadays, made by actual AAA publishers. Even Final Fantasy is like, no, we just want you to mash buttons nowadays. But to me, nothing beats turn-based RPGs, and Superstar Saga was one of the best. And now we head back to Pokemon, and this time we're looking at Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Silver are two of my favorite games of all time, and FireRed and LeafGreen are remakes of Pokemon Blue with just some added quality of life that makes things a lot better. Nowadays, it's sort of the de facto choice for replaying, even if I personally like going back to Pokemon Blue quite often. Once again, it's Pokemon, and FireRed is especially important because of the amount of ROM hacks that it spawned. Seriously, at this point there is so many, and there's so many extremely good ones, like Pokemon Unbound, but if you want even a funnier one, then Rocket Edition, where you play as a Team Rocket grunt, is so fun. I can't do another Pokemon game without adding another Fire Emblem game, and this time we have Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. I will forever refer to this game as Fire Emblem Seth Stones. This game takes you through what it's like to be Seth, an unkillable killing machine that you just send into a group of enemies, and he comes out laughing, and he's like, just send more. By the end of this game, you're worshipping Seth as a deity, and you'll have at least one shrine dedicated to him in your house. No, but seriously, this game is great, albeit slightly difficult in some situations, but that's Fire Emblem. This has probably one of the better Fire Emblem stories as well, and that helps carry you through, But like the previous Fire Emblem, this also spawned a whole lot of ROM hacks. I even did a series on it that you can check out. Last on my list is Advance Wars. Oh goody, another strategy RPG. How on brand. Everyone knows Advance Wars is awesome, right? And it even starts with just the intro music that pumps you up before throwing you in a long tutorial and you get bored. Kidding aside, it's Fire Emblem but with an army. So any Americans should love this game by that premise alone. It's brilliant, great music, great turn-based gameplay, and great difficulty ramps. Army Fire Emblem. It's all right there. And with that, that's going to be it for this one. Like I mentioned before, this is just my favorite Game Boy Advance games and original games. Not by any means a best of list, just kind of what I like to play and give you an idea more about what I do with my games. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow, and hope you all have a good one.